Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome to Bar Talk with Jay. And again, who I have on the side of me, Craftmatic in the building.
What's up, Smooth J?
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, I gotta go to the next person in the building because last time I forgot about her, she had an attitude.
Right.
We got Barbara from Macon, Georgia in
What's
the
up,
building.
Miss Barbara?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How everybody's doing?
If you take that long next time to say something, I'm gonna say something. Hi.
She in the house. She in the house. She's always in the house. Behind the boards doing what she do.
And she represents Macon, and everybody in Macon is listening. Thank you so much. But back to my man, Craftmatic. Didn't mean to cut you off, my brother. Since it was your birthday, I put it out there at the beginning of the show. Yes, celebrate it. Sound like you had so much fun, man. So how are you today? 49 player.
Man,
Tell us about
I'm
it.
doing fabulous, bruh. Everything is always seem to be moving in the right direction. You know, I just got the Lord behind me, and you know, work is going good, and my kids are doing well, and my parents are doing well. I don't really have any worries in the world, man. You know, I had that conversation we had last night in the men's group. Kind of stirred me up a little bit.
It needs to.
And we gonna come back to it, man. And before we do, before we do, let me get to the real stuff. How you doing tonight, big
You
man?
know something, man, I'm glad you asked. My job got me up there in ball ground this week, man, and I'm in a truck bouncing up and down, so my back end kind of sore, bro. I'm bouncing up and down in the truck, and it don't feel good.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to be here, man. Enjoying helping out another division right now. We do other things besides Bar Talk with Jay.
Yeah.
But this is how we able to get all the good stuff and bring it to you because, again, we out there. And, again, we love doing multiple things out in our community.
Absolutely.
One of them, we all got to work, got to pay bills. So, again, you got to be dedicated to what you do. And I do love what I do.
Me too,
more of the show than where I'm currently at.
Right.
But again, you have to put in excellence no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, just because it might not be a job that you feel is perfect, do the best job you can.
Absolutely.
And that makes everybody else so much better.
Yes.
Because they ain't got to put up a bull crap. Because when you half-ass, somebody behind you does the same thing, and then nobody's to their fullest potential.
It's a perpetual cycle.
Right.
That's
You need to be
exactly
at your fullest potential because when opportunity arises, you got to be ready.
Yes.
And I can do it. You should have already been doing it. That's
Okay.
why the interview don't go well because you're talking about what you're capable of doing, but you have not shown it.
Right.
So now it's an uphill battle. I'm just trying to help everybody out there.
Okay. I like
because
the
I
words.
want people to be successful in anything that they want to get into.
Absolutely.
So Barbara,
Absolutely.
I could keep leaving her out, you know, she be getting attitude, you know.
She all right. She all right.
Barbara, how are you doing?
Wonderful.
Okay.
On this day.
On this, and that's all we get? Yeah,
Okay.
no wonder we leave her out. Anyway.
Yeah. Wow.
You know we be having fun.
Let's catch up on last week's show, man.
What?
Yeah.
You remember last week's show was rejection, partner?
Yes.
You know, and I noticed you handle it so well, man, and I don't do too good, man. You know,
No?
back in the day, man, you hoarded. It hoarded my feelings. I had to build a shield up to allow myself to realize that they didn't even understand what they was rejecting because a lot of times I told you I walked in stuttering. I wasn't even myself because I made myself nervous.
Right.
I put rejection out there before I even opened my mouth.
Absolutely.
So I started thinking different, and I started getting confidence about what I wanted to talk about. Talk about things, you know, and it changed the game because a lot of times people will be like, "How do you start a conversation?" Well, I will always say, "What you passionate about?"
Right.
Because that's what you're gonna talk strongly on. But when you talk to a person about things that you have no idea about, I'm just saying, you tend not to speak with confidence.
Absolutely.
And women like confidence and they like to, you know, feel, you know. Anyway,
but you know,
we got some kids listening.
Yeah, sometimes women like to reject. Right?
And that's true too.
And it takes men a long time to figure that out. But I believe they like to reject. It makes them feel special. Maybe it gives them something to hang on to in their sense of self. but they don't all the time want to reject, you know. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of guys who blow it for the guys who will do what's right and who will approach right. And so you approach a woman right, but she just got bothered by 2 or 3 knuckleheads. Now she ain't gonna give you the time of day. So the rejection ain't really about you. And I think that was the sum total of the whole story last week, is that when someone rejects you, it's based on their opinion, it's based on their insight, and you can't let their opinion and insight get into your head. Because if you let them in your head, now they're kind of controlling you, sometimes manipulating you, influencing you in a way that makes you lose your sense of self. And the rejection ultimately should be just a wall of mirror to be able to see, you know, maybe what other people think. Maybe I do need to make some changes in the way I behave, or maybe I do need to make some changes in, you know, being on time to work, or maybe I do need to make some changes in the way I dress. You know, it should just give you an opportunity to self-analyze. But if you start listening to what the world thinks about you and how the world feels about you, and you base your sense of self on all of that, you're always going to feel less than, because people want to see you beneath them. And it's not that they necessarily want to do you harm in that thought process, but they don't want to feel less than themselves. And so the best way to make somebody who might be more smarter than you or more successful than you feel bad is to talk to them like they're beneath your feet. Right? Like they're beneath you. And that can feel like rejection, but again, you cannot pay that attention. There's 300 million opinions in the United States of America, and all of them are right. My pastor used to tell me, said there's 300 million people, or there's 8 billion people, whatever, looking at the sun, and every view of the sun is correct. And so you just have to stand on your own principles, and you have to stand on your own belief system, because it's your belief system, the strength of your belief system, that can be your greatest, I guess, pushback to rejection, right? So I'm not moved by rejection at all.
Well,
you know,
we can tell.
Yeah, I listen to what people have to say, but again, I know they're talking from their perspective. They don't really know me. They don't really know what I desire. They don't really oftentimes know what I did, right? They're rejecting what I did, but they don't really know why I did what I did, you know? So it's a very interesting topic, and I think one that you'll get some value out of, folks, if you go back and listen to the show. Every week we are attempting to bring some healthy wisdom and information to the table. And so, you know, that's what Bar Talk with Jay is all about. And what, am I seeing something?
No, I'm about to
Barbara, you got something on your mind?
Do we have some questions from last week?
No, we don't have any questions from last week.
And
But I
again,
just want to say something about this rejection.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
Speaking to the mic for me.
Sometimes when you're being rejected, you're giving those people your power. We do not want to give them our power. We have to have faith in God,
Yes.
and make sure that we're being happy and can find a way to overlook the rejections that we get, to make it a happy rejection.
Absolutely. You know what come to mind when I hear that is that worldly rejection is false and temporary. But you're not going to be rejected by the Lord.
Spiritual.
You're not going to have divine rejection, right? If you start to feel some divine rejection, it's time to get into your word, right? It's time to ask the Lord what's going on.
Might want to look at your work.
Yeah. But you gotta trust in your faith that you know what's in your heart and what's in your mind and how you're being guided and led is the right way for you.
And they got another slogan that's called "What's in your wallet?" I'm just saying,
Right.
what's in your wallet? Okay, now hot topic.
Yeah.
We're gonna let Barb have a little bit of fun with this. We got purpose.
Okay.
Now, I got my own, but you know, we gonna let Megan speak. What we got going on there, Barb, with this purpose?
I feel as though you have to have a passion in order to figure out what your purpose is. Also, you need to believe in speech, conduct, love, and a way to make it purity.
Okay.
But you know, we also have to have that faith. I always have to go back to faith.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't believe in God and that He has given you that, then you have nothing at all.
All right.
There you go.
Now that right there,
Man, that's powerful.
That gives you a good way with purpose. And passion is one of the things she mentioned, and I think it coincides with the purpose. And that passion is that fire within you.
Right.
Okay? But a lot of times we don't know what that fire is. And a lot of times you gotta live a while to realize what a passion that actually germinates in you to get out of you. You got to get closer to him. And a lot of times that's sometime alone.
Yeah.
Because I was raised believing the old school values of go to school, go to college, get a job, get a house, get a wife, have kids. Now, I jacked that water. So
Right.
I might have heard what they said. I didn't listen, and I didn't do it in that order at all.
Right.
Period. But somewhere along the line, no one ever sat me down to ask me about what's in me.
Yes.
So
Right.
as I'm doing all these things that I'm kind of like just remembering what I need to do to be a good man. I got lost in the shuffle about what's in me.
Absolutely.
So I start hearing everybody's opinion, and I had my own. I was scared to say mine because what made my opinion more powerful than yours? I felt like I just went and buy a guidebook from school.
Right.
So after a while, you realize how much power you have when you start speaking. Because your views are views that other people like to hear and feel the same way about.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you have to understand the power within you. So when I started speaking out, and I was like, no, I don't believe that's right.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't think it was it. But why did you tell me that stuff? Well, that's because somebody told me.
Right.
And that's when you start breaking the chain of bad behavior. They just do it because somebody else did it. But guess what? It don't have to happen. It's
Absolutely.
make a stand.
Absolutely.
No.
I really like the way Barbara brought passion and linked it with purpose. And I think of it in this way. Let's say you're passionate about baking, and you bake cookies and you bake cakes. Well, that's a gift that God gave you. And if you use that gift to go and help someone else or to better your family, then you're starting to live with purpose, right? So you can use your baking skills to make money for your family, right? And be quite prosperous if you put the systems and processes in place, right? Let's say you're passionate about doing hair. Why don't you do hair for the young girls group? Or why don't you go into a classroom and teach young girls how to take care of their hair? That's when you can take your passion and you can start applying it to purpose. And it works in every facet of humanity. Everyone has a passion for something. It may be just playing video games, right? Some people like to produce music. Some people like cameras. Some people like doing lawns and landscape. But no matter what your passion is, apply it to something that will achieve results, whether it be for your own family or whether it be to help others in the community. And there's a lot of community-based projects that you can apply your passion to. If you like helping people, you probably need to be in a soup line, or you need to be maybe help collecting clothes for the homeless, or find a way to help people. Without a purpose, you are just drifting in life. Without a purpose, you are going nowhere. And your life, and this is kind of a lesson from those who've been there and done that drifting adds up to zero. But a purpose adds up to a full and fulfilled life. It adds up to doing what you were born to do. Just like the rose bush. The rose bush was born to have thorns and to blossom a beautiful flower, and maybe to be the super shine of a person's day. So if I take that flower and I give it to my wife or my significant other, it's going to brighten her day. That's what the rose's purpose was, right? It was just a great rose, and then we took it and put it to use so it can bring love and healing into the world. So I'm just encouraging everyone to really get focused on what your passion is and apply it. And if you haven't quite figured it out, I'm always a proponent of a clean sheet of paper. Pull out a clean sheet of paper and just start writing the things that you would like to do. Just get it out of your head, get it in black and white, and then at the end of that exercise, you'll be able to look back and say, no, let's cross this off, let's cross this off. You know what, I'd really like to do this. And maybe share it with someone, and they can help you develop a plan to really focus in on your purpose. Where there is no purpose, oftentimes there is no peace. Oftentimes there is no joy. And you know, we are here for joy and we are here for peace. But even more than that, we are here to achieve something in our lives. And that may be for us, that may be for our children, but mostly it's for our God. And so get focused on what is your greatest purpose and passion, and you'll find joy and you'll find peace in your life.
And happiness.
And there you go.
And happiness. And happiness. There you go.
Now, I want to tell you before we go on break on this one, for all the ones that go to Bar Talk with Jay page and normally watch the show, I will say tonight, Facebook has put me in jail again. So again, a lot of times y'all got to go to Jeremiah Harderwood page tonight. I don't understand how Facebook allows some things to happen, but when you give some good stuff, you want to shut it down. All I can tell you is if anybody got any connection with Facebook and anybody out there that can help a brother out and get out of jail with Bar Talk with Jay.
Yeah.
Because Jay been putting ourselves in different groups trying to get out there, and they done locked that account up. Again, Jeremiah Hartford page is still up and active and still doing things, and that's why, because I had to mirror some things, because I had to have forethought of what they do, and I want to do something a little bit better. But I need y'all to go to my Bar Talk with Jay fan page, hit the like before I can get it up, and I'm starting to use that now, and I'm broadcasting off of that page since I had so many other problems.
Right.
And again, I get my fans up. I want y'all to understand what we're trying to do is impact the world the way I always envisioned, but wanted to say thank you for allowing me to make my vision come true.
Absolutely.
Especially with my cast, my crew. I'm telling you, it wouldn't be possible without you.
Yeah, Jay, and let me just plant this seed. And this is a seed that really is right for today's climate. The devil is busy. And see, we bring love and we bring possibility and we bring wisdom into the world through this show. And, you know, there's always going to be an attempt to keep us from doing what we do. That's what's going to happen, folks. When you get focused in on your purpose and your passion, you're going to meet an adversary. You're going to meet an obstacle. That is the nature of life. You know, we talked about that several shows ago. That is a principle of life. That there's high tide and low tide, and you just got to keep fighting like it's always high tide. Right?
Yeah, I'm fighting.
So we're not going to even worry about the enemies. That we're being led and we're being guided, and the right people will hear this show, and the wisdom will be released, and it will fulfill hearts, and it will give guidance to the people. So I'm not concerned about Facebook. And,
there you go. Say it again.
What their thoughts are. I believe that they're just some gremlins in the system, because I believe most of Facebook is just good-hearted people, even the staff of Facebook. So you might have had somebody to complain, and they had a partner on the inside, you know, to shake us up a little bit. But you can't stop what's real, my friend.
Nah.
You can't stop what's real. So we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and let the church roll on, as my pops would say.
There you go.
So it is now time for our first break. Tonight we are talking about the 80s and the 90s versus the era of today.
Man, that's going to be very interesting, because the 80s was my era, baby.
80s was my era.
Man, that was sweet.
Goodness,
The music.
Yes.
With the mouth.
Yes, it was so much. It was so much good going on, and there's a lot good going on today. But it's a little bit of a different world, and I think that the difference between the 80s and the 90s and today's time, you know, the last 20 years, 20, 30 years, has been probably the most significant change in American history. We're talking about technology.
Oh yeah, technology.
Right? Technology has changed the game. Technology has changed every facet of humanity. It's changed how we go to ball games and how we meet new friends, and it's changed how we communicate with one another and how we pay our bills, etc. And we're going to talk all about that tonight. So y'all stay tuned with us. I'm calling this an observation show because we just want to take a look at what has been and what is now, and see if we can draw some conclusions and maybe make some decisions about tomorrow and the day after tomorrow.
Why not?
All right.
It's our conception.
There we go. So tonight we jamming with a little old school. So I'm gonna come at you live and in living color from the Craftmatic booth.
Smooth.
And y'all stay tuned with us. We'll be right back with more Bar Talk.
Okay, how you doing, girl?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent.
We doing good. We doing good.
Yeah, look how
Nice to have you on the line. Nice to have you on the line. Jay, why you always gotta be?
I mean, you got off a damn chipper out of nowhere. I mean, Jesus, man.
You got a nice motivating
I have a
voice.
good reason to be chipper.
Oh, hold on, player.
There you go.
He ain't even met you yet, though.
There you go.
Look at her trying to throw her little swagger. He has a reason to be. See, that's one thing.
I ain't met her, but I know a lot about her.
Yeah, you might know a lot about it, but I'm gonna tell you about what you don't know, player.
Yeah.
That one right there, Bob. Crazy.
Watch out. So how you doing tonight, Miss TK?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. What you got for us tonight? We always fired up about your set.
Yeah, I bet you we are.
No, it's gonna be nice tonight.
Thank you.
My issue tonight is how do you effectively co-parent when your co-parenting partner, significant other, don't like you?
Oh man, can you help us out why he don't like you?
We don't need to go into all that.
Oh, you know I'm having this fun.
I'm really likable, so I don't understand why people don't generally like me, because people generally don't like me. But I think sometimes my confidence is intimidating, therefore making her feel a little self-conscious about herself. Be it my physical appearance or the could be my smart mouth, probably both.
Yeah, I go with both. I mean, I ain't throwing salt or nothing. I'm just saying, just from a past experience dealing with you
Kinda
from
salty.
afar, you do got
Right.
you got a mouth that yeah.
Well,
I mean, at times it can be vicious, but I initially go into a situation with an open mind,
okay.
and I find even with my adult children, the new significant, still don't like it, because I get along with all of my, I get along with my ex's in-laws. We have no real bad blood. So I still get invited to all the functions, graduations, the birthday parties, the dinners, and I'm pick and choose which one I want to see if I feel like it's going to have nothing else planned. I'm not there to cause any problems. We're there, we hang out, they come over, sometimes we do girls' night, and we hang, so it's not about him per se. We're not about him at all, really. We still friends. We were friends, and my oldest kid is 25, so we've been friends for a good long time with no issue.
Right. Well, I think that's a good subject. There's a lot of, we call it broken homes, but there's a lot of, multiple family homes where you bring, kids in and you try to do the best for your children. And when the parents don't see eye to eye, I mean, it ultimately hurts the children. It hurts the children. And but sometimes there's still some love there. That some like or love there that can cause some emotion, somebody to feel a certain kind of way. But it is, it's a meaningful subject to dialogue about, because I think parents need to put aside all their dislikes and just focus on what's best for the children.
It's not the parent, it's the parent's significance. So the ex's girlfriend has an issue, which in turn causes say you have kids, and your ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, and you have a kid with her. Her man, for whatever reason, doesn't like you. But you and her brother are friends. Y'all hang out, and he invites you to barbecue for 4th of July, and you hang out. No issue. She doesn't have an issue. It has not been having an issue. until her new guy shows up and has an opinion about your presence.
Jealousy.
So it's not the
I got what you're saying.
Your ex,
Help me
her
out.
ex,
I got you.
is significant.
Okay, I got you. Latika, you fade in and out. I don't know if you're moving when you're talking,
Right.
but you fade in and out. But I got you. I understand what you're saying. It's not y'all two. It's the other. So in other words, like your ex-wife and her guy she's with, he's more jealous of you, throwing salt on you.
Right.
And how do you deal with that? And you still trying to have a good relationship with her and your kids. So you got a little salt that's in the game.
Yeah.
And again, Latika,
It's jealousy.
is a total jealousy.
It's jealousy.
You gotta understand, some people are uncomfortable because of the fact you have that relationship, and they're not for sure how strong that relationship is. So a lot of times, jealousy slides in where like say curiosity or lack of knowing, or
Right.
feeling intimidated, or thinking that you might just go bad.
Right.
And remember I told you this, that's what helps you manifest your fears to reality.
Right.
And that's why a lot of times things don't work out, because you help resonate with not even there. She's not even thinking in that way, but you're giving her that thought.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, why he got to be at all the parties? Why he got to give such nice gifts? See, these words right here are not of encouraging. That is the father of the kids, so if he gives good gifts, because that's his child.
Right.
But you want to talk about the gifts, but what are you doing?
Right.
You know, are you aiding that child? Are you trying to help? Or are you just trying to put it down because you didn't do nothing?
Right.
And it goes back and
There's
forth.
a lot of haterism in that.
Yeah, and
a lot of haterism in that.
You gotta get some of that off your shoulders.
And now that I
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
It is.
It is
But it
absolutely
happens.
ridiculous. But you know, I think a lot of that probably comes from the comfort or lack of comfort of that guy and the girl. Him and his lady now. That listen, if I have to be around your ex-boyfriend,
Mhm.
you got to make me feel comfortable. And even maybe your ex-boyfriend, you got kids with him. I mean, you got to make me feel comfortable, because I ain't gonna trust y'all together. I ain't gonna want to hear none of this stuff until I see it myself, and I probably need to see it in action for a few years
Yeah, to make sure.
before I really know. Because we all know that exes, will slip with you down the hallway in the corner somewhere, right? Yeah. I mean, that's real talk, though.
Yeah.
That's real talk.
Tell the truth.
So I ain't gonna trust the situation until you make me feel comfortable, and you can actively make someone feel comfortable. Have dinner together.
Yes.
Invite them over. Make them feel a part of the family. When you have those parties, go sit down and talk with that person. Go sit down and have a conversation with them. Drink a beer and have some laughs. It's politicking, but it's good politics.
That's a man thing, because women don't usually do, well, not normally.
But they should.
Men do it more often than women. We don't do it. And me, in my honest petty nature, I try to see if she's comfortable, so I'm comfortable. When I go to the house, I take my shoes off and I walk around like I live there, because I'm comfortable. I've been knowing these people 25 years, plus years.
Right.
I move around as if I'm at home, but I've never been told not to. I've never been told, okay, you're making her a little uncomfortable. She ain't really, she ain't heard no, we don't have war stories. Like, I ain't really.
Yeah, but
We didn't end that. We just grew apart.
You
realize we weren't good together. We were better off parenting other than being in a relationship.
Yeah, but
so there's no bad blood. I don't want him to die. He ain't with you. That's on me. It's you do you. You have the good. So you'll settle that. You'll leave me the hell alone. And that's what it is.
Yeah, but
real quick.
I hope you don't get too comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You can't act like you still run the place. You gotta find a happy medium to help your ex-boyfriend or ex-spouse or baby daddy out a little bit. That's a very uncomfortable. That's a very uncomfortable position to be between your old lady and your new lady. Especially knowing that you got kids. Yes, it is. It's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable in any scenario.
All you have to do is say, making my lady uncomfortable, man. You doing too much, you extra. And maybe I will get in my feelings. Man, I'm like, boy, shut up. This girl ain't been here long enough to have no opinion about nothing.
See, there you go.
That's what
I knew it was going to come out.
We knew it was going to come out. You taunting her. That's what's happening. You taunt the situation.
Your ass need counseling, okay? TK.
You cannot.
You're acting as though you're still in that spot. You're not.
Listen,
you got to give her some respect.
Like you still got power. Like you still the one.
Chill out, girl.
You cannot be like that. Listen, we understand it, but you gotta, especially if there's kids involved here.
Yes,
now that's what we're talking about, raising the kids. Is that you know that
in my defense, mine is grown, but still we still interact with each other often.
Yeah, well, in a lot of cases though, your kids got to go over to her house next weekend. And you know, she's gonna love up on your kids, but you know, you don't want to create no gremlins in the system, right? You want to just play the game and make sure everybody's cool and everybody's understanding. But if you come over and you all in the pantry and taking your shoes off and you know you
but I take my shoes off at everybody's house. I hate walking around. I don't care who your house is. I'm not walking around your house with my shoes on. I feel like that's disgusting. That's just my personal opinion. I'm never gonna wear my shoes in your house.
Yeah, I understand that, but you know,
I'm saying you can take off more than your shoes.
Stop it, Jay.
I mean, you trying to make you comfortable, girl. That's how Jesus made you.
Listen, I make sure I have your old pair of slippers when you come around my way.
In a robe. In a robe.
But bringing challenge to the whole situation.
You gotta tell me twice, but I'm just saying, we see what's going on that one. But we hope you definitely heard, Latiki, some of the stuff that we threw back at you, to see your own actions, to again make amends to yourself, because again, it's not like you did anything seriously wrong, but it's something that can make people uncomfortable, and it's something that you can change and tweak to help out, again, the person that you have had these kids with, to help him a little bit, because again, you don't want to push whatever he chose to be with away just because you overdominant.
Yeah, and let me just tell a quick story. I know we got to go to break, but before I married my ex-wife, she had a son, and we were, you know, I was a traveling guy, and my career's taken me all over the place. So we were preparing to move out of the city that, you know, her son was raised in, and that she met her ex, down to South Florida. We were moving 12, 15 hours away. And so I went to my stepson's father, and I said, listen, man, I'm on your team. You know, I love your son. I'm going to be dad, but you are his father, or vice versa, however that works. I want to love on him. I want the best for him, and I want you to feel comfortable that you can call my house anytime and talk to him. He is welcome to call you at any time. Just know that we got to be a part of the family. We got to be a family, you and I, as co-fathers, in order to make sure that your son gets the best that he needs for life. And he really, really appreciated that. Yes. And even years later, as he, you know, gained his momentum in communicating with his son, he felt more comfortable, like he could call the house at any time, right, on birthdays or Sunday nights or whatever the case may be. And so I just think that it's important that we open the doorway of communication between those people that might be our adversaries, especially in families and when we're trying to raise kids. It makes all the difference, right?
All right, we gotta go to break.
So thank you so much, Ms. TK. Another live subject. We needed that. And folks, we are on fire tonight on the way in.
Yes, you are, Craig.
We got the Reverend Dr. Jeffrey coming up, the good Reverend Doctor coming up in just a moment.
We need Rev tonight, the way you hot over there.
We'll be right back after this message.
Baby.
What's going on, Brother Jay, Brother Crab? What's going on with you fella today?
Man, we holding it down, bruh. Holding it down. Listen, I've been mocking you again this week, man. I had to chastise a few people. I did it in the Jeffrey voice.
That's that red Jeff.
Yeah, man. Everything is lovely over here, man. And how are you tonight, my friend?
Oh man, I tell you what, once again they tried to squeeze blood out of a turnip and work me like I was a Hebrew slave, but you know what time it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It is time for you to close your mouth and listen. You ask me some questions, I give you some answers from a man's point of view.
Okay.
Now I got one reason for the habitually single male, and I got one reason for the habitually single female. As to why you might be single, but here is the disclaimer. Now, what I'm going to talk about may not apply to you, and if it doesn't apply to you, I don't want you to put your foot up in this shoe.
Okay.
But if it does apply to you, I want you to put both feet in the stilettos and both feet in the Timberlands and walk around in them because you're about to learn something tonight. Ladies, you are first.
Let's get it.
Now, ladies, you actually date from the perspective of fear. I'm going to say it differently. Ladies, you might meet a guy, and the guy might be real nice looking, and he does everything the right way, but you sitting there thinking something got to be wrong.
Right.
And you're thinking something got to be wrong. What you end up doing is overanalyzing everything that he does instead of appreciating. I'm sorry, you overanalyze the things that he does not do instead of recognizing the things that he does.
Right.
So you end up giving away $100 bill because you only saw 4 20s. Now I want you to understand, $100 is still $100 whether it's 5 20s or one $100 bill or one $101 bill. It's still $100. It spends the same.
That's right.
The difference is you focused on what you didn't get, and because you didn't have a $100 bill, you decided you didn't want the $101 bill. And you sitting over there with a purse with dust flying out of it, single.
Wow. I guess she didn't get the prize.
Man, listen, that's a big one, bro.
That's deep.
That's a big one, and I've met many of men, that can be convicted on this one. Yeah. People come to the table with so much. Why focus on what they don't have? Let's focus on what they do have, and let's bring those gifts and those traits and that character to the forefront of our minds. Let's judge that person or make an opinion of that person based on who they are, not who they're not.
I definitely agree with both of y'all, because one of the things I like to say is a lot of times you can meet a person that might not be on the high end, but they have the capability of getting you there.
Yes.
Now see, that capability is finesse.
Yes.
So when you talk to a person that's confident in seeing something in you and pulling it out of you, that person might not have the things that you would normally say a person would have of their age, okay? Right. They might not be sound, but guess what? Whatever might have put them in that place got them to be with you. So now you can help them and they can help you.
Absolutely.
And that right there is what something we don't really look at in relationships, because we have these thoughts of what we should have.
Yeah.
Okay? And I like to say it's contaminating when you find a good person, because you bring that to the table and you roll that out, and you're not rolling out what they really possess.
Yeah.
Because you're putting your own into it. And that's why I like to say, don't tell a person what you like and what you want. But when I say that is, why not let them be themselves?
Absolutely.
When I say that is, don't tell the person, I like you to do this, 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 and this. Okay? Because when they start doing this, you're going to go back and say, hey, he do everything I tell him to do. And that's why he my man. Okay? After a while, he's going to stop. Because he's going to want to do him. Okay?
Right.
And all of a sudden then, it becomes a problem because you used to do what I like. When am I ever going to be me?
Yeah.
And that's where problems come from.
Yeah, Jeffrey, I was listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show this morning, and the Strawberry Letter is basically exactly what you just said. This young lady, she's married to this man, and she said everything about this man is real man. The way he looks, the way he treats his family and takes care of her and giving and loving, but she called him the 32nd man. And she was on the national radio with a letter calling her husband out, and I just didn't think that was right, man. So I'm totally in agreement. We got to focus on what we have and not what we don't have.
That is saying. I'm just saying you.
It's on you. It's on you.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't even get it in.
Jeffrey, can I have number 2, please?
Okay, go ahead, Because that number one boy got it deep down. Grab it. Go ahead.
All right, now, fellas, don't think I'm letting you off the hook because you are next. Here we go, fellas. Now, you might be single because you have a problem with the cookies.
Oh.
No, I'm going to say it a little differently now. We all know as men that there's two types of cookies. Mm-hmm. There's the cookies that you already got, and then there's some new cookies.
Right.
The cookies that you already got, you know that cookie. It might be a soft batch of cookies. It might be an oatmeal raisin. It might be some Oreo cookies with the cream in the middle.
Right.
We already know.
Right.
We already know those cookies.
Right.
Then we got this new batch of cookies over here. Mm-hmm. So that new batch of cookies just came out the oven as far as we're concerned because we haven't yet tasted those cookies. Right. Those new cookies are in a fresher container because we haven't touched the container yet. Mm-hmm. Those new cookies now will lead us astray. Mm-hmm. Because you got to remember now, those new cookies also come with a new set of problems. Right. A new set of expectations. Right. A new set of idiosyncratic behavior that we got to get to know. When, in fact, over here, all we got to do to the cookies that we got is just take our time when we eating those cookies and add a little milk to the little cookie mix. Yes. And what ends up happening is those cookies are just as good. Right. So we're constantly trying to buy that new batch of cookies. Now, here's the thing, fellas. When you buy a new batch of cookies, you got to pay for it again now. That's some more money out your pocket. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. But if you already bought a pack of cookies, and the cookies are still fresh, and the cookies are still sweet, and the cookies are still soft and supple, you know what I'm getting at, right? Don't spend no more money for some new cookies. You spend the money on the cookies that you got. Right. What ends up happening, though, we want to spend money on some new cookies. Mm-hmm. And we spend money on some new cookies after that one. And we keep spending money on new cookies. We end up with no cookies, and we end up broke and single. Yes.
Oh, man. Yes. You deep on that one right there. Yeah, man. I like that one because I'm going to tell you right now.
Every man in the heart
and
the pocket.
You hit on a whole lot because we love some cookies.
Yeah, we love
Ain't nothing like some cookies and some cream.
I have a belief that every man is a cookie monster.
What?
But you can't be a monster. You know what I'm saying? Monsters get killed in the end, Monsters get depleted,
If I eat enough cookies, I guess I will. I'm just saying. All I can tell you is I got you, Jeffrey, because old cookies might not be good cookies, but I believe in the microwave them cookies. Because I'm gonna tell you might wear that cookie, it get back soft, it get back good. I mean, and let me tell you gotta know how to play with that cookie.
Here's a reality.
Okay.
That if you're going to have a fulfilling long-term relationship, you're gonna have to get climatized to rebatching your current set of cookies. Right? You're gonna have to work with those cookies for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And Jeffrey hit the nail on the head, man. Once again, new cookies leads you to problems. And first of all, new cookies is gonna tamper, the batch that you already have. It's gonna hinder, it's gonna start creating challenge and bad problems with the woman that you have. That's true. So what you got to do is you got to keep your eyes focused on the prize. And if you already got the prize, then you don't need no new cookies.
Now, I got to do a voice of Jay. Jay gonna give you a different way of looking at it.
Okay.
New cookie is new cookie. Everybody likes a new cookie. Now, I won't tell you no different than you might not want to bite every cookie that's presented to you. But that cookie sure look good.
Jeffrey, I think we need to move on.
Jay got some issues, but I'm just saying.
You can't talk about cookies around.
Jay has cookies. Mr. Jeffrey, can I have number 3, please?
Right. I was going back for my cookies.
Let it go, baby. All right. You eat too many cookies.
Well,
go ahead, Jeffrey.
Now, I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that tonight I kind of talked about money as it relates to both reasons why we could be single. Using that as an analogy, how we spend money on new cookies or how we don't look at the worthwhile investment and what we have. We're constantly looking at what we don't have. The thing that we got to focus on more than anything else that we've been focusing on is each other. And when I say focusing on each other, men, we can't focus on what we perceive women don't do no more and how women are. And then women, we can't focus on how men ain't this and how men ain't that. No, what we have to focus on is that we are still standing. I need you to feel me in spite of every damn thing they thrown at us, we are still standing and growing. In spite of everything they put in place to suppress and oppress us, we are still finding a way. Our money coming together is the thing that they fear. Our focus being united is the thing that they fear. I promise you folks, the minute we stop focusing on them and we start focusing on us, we will solve the problem.
Yes.
Right now we're so focused on the problems they've been dishing our way. Now don't get it twisted. We have to recognize that. But we can't spend all of our time on the problem. What we got to do is start focusing on what we got, and what we got is each other.
Yes.
If I focus on my woman, and I focus on taking care of her, and she focuses on me, and she focuses on taking care of me, well, guess what? Damn it, we're going to be all right.
Yes, sir.
Because in spite of what the world might throw at me, I still got my woman. And in spite of what the world might throw at her, she still got me.
Yes.
And we got to get back to that in our communities, because the minute we do that, then we are a force to be reckoned with, because we're rebuilding our homes.
Yes.
We rebuild our homes, we rebuild our communities. We rebuild our communities. You better watch out, because then we will be a force to be reckoned with. And that's all I got.
I'm gonna tell you all day long, Jeffrey. We are already a force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
And we have a lot of broken homes, but we're coming back, and we're gonna come back even stronger, because again, words to the wise is we are that bad mamma jamma.
Yeah.
From the past to the present, it's just we're not communicating thoroughly, and we're not fully understanding. But I'm thinking we're starting to wake up.
Absolutely.
But shows like this is helping us wake up, because there's a lot of mistakes that's being going on today. Okay, it's like me picking with the cookie. Okay, chasing cookies is one of our problems. We have multiple of them. And if you don't recognize a problem, you continue to have a problem.
Right.
And that's why I love the show, because I can joke and play about the cookie, because me, myself, and I like cookies. Ain't nothing wrong with cookies and milk. I love cookies and milk. But it can distract you from other things. And other people looks at me in a way that be like, wait a minute, so you're not serious about anything. You might want to take my show, for example. I can laser focus on what I want to. And it's up to you to realize you can't keep playing, okay? But if you gon' play, be honest, let people know what you're doing. Play.
Yeah.
Because when you stop playing, you better get laser focused, because at that point, they expect you to do what you say you're gonna do. And that's what I really feel the problem of the day is. People want to keep playing and they don't want to get serious. You have to get serious, because the bottom line is this life is for us to enjoy. We should be living a prosperous, good life right now. And I don't understand why we're not. The woman that's on the side of us should be happy. We should be happy. No one should be miserable. But they are. Because of choices. We have to watch our choices.
Absolutely.
And make better decisions.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, what more can be said than what Jeffrey said? We have to focus on each other. We have to focus on the family. And we got to get that message across to our young people, because, yes, we are the generation that has somewhat missed the mark when it comes to family. But we have the responsibility of fixing it. And sending a message like this, the good Reverend Dr. Jeffrey says, focus on your family and be grateful that we are still standing. You know, I would create another holiday in every household where they would celebrate their successes. Wouldn't that do a lot for the motivation and the mentality of people, if you could just create your own holiday and celebrate that you're still standing? That's powerful, Jeffrey. That's absolutely powerful. Listen, we're talking tonight about the subject, Brother Jeffrey, is that the 80s and the 90s versus the era of today. Can you add any value to such a topic? What has changed? What we should be looking at? What's important?
You know, I just had my daughter on the radio. We had this talk about the battle of the generation.
Okay.
And I said, okay, tell me who's your top rapper right now.
Right.
She said, Lil Yachty. I said, so
right.
what I need everybody to understand, she made a really good point. She said that when you look at my generation, you got to look at yourself. Ooh. Because everything that we are, you made us. You put us in this position. You spoiled us. You coddled us. You made us feel entitled. Don't look at us and say it's just us being us. No, you created this environment, and that's true. Because when I grew up, I wouldn't dare say something like that to my parents.
Right.
I would have got a swift backhand in the mouth.
Right.
Now, I knew she wasn't talking to me. She was speaking for her generation. But too many people have raised young men that don't know how to do anything, don't know how to change their faucet, don't know how to change the tire. And they've taken young women and put so much independence and masculinity in them that they're almost undateable.
Wow.
So there's some differences, yes, but I believe my daughter actually schooled me a little bit when she said that's your generation that raised us. So that's one thing that I'll give her credit for. I ain't give her credit for nothing else. That's one thing I'll give her credit for.
Yeah, man. And we have no choice, as even though she's a young lady, we have no choice but to receive that.
Yes,
and I take full ownership of it, and I think what we are doing here today and every week adds value to that. But it's got to take place in our homes, and it's how do you hold a young person accountable to community? That's a question we probably need to have a better answer for, but it's going to be by example. It's going to be by participating in your son's, football team and your daughter's cheerleading and being volunteers in your school. And when your children can see that you're an example, they'll follow your lead. They're not going to do what you tell them. They're going to do what you show them. And so that means we all have to hold ourselves a little more accountable to community. And that's the only way we're going to transcend that message to our young folk. So outstanding answer, outstanding response, Jeffrey. I really, really appreciate that, man. And we're going so hard in tonight on this subject. We just want to do an observation, but I think that's a great way to open the door for us, man. So we really appreciate it. Any parting words for us tonight?
Oh man, just stay focused on doing better than you did yesterday. Doing more than you did yesterday.
Yes.
And being better than you were yesterday. I'm gonna leave it right there.
That's back to purpose.
That's
there
all
you go.
we need to say.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Till next week, baby.
All right. And folks, this is Bar Talk with Jay, and I'm just intrigued by these comments, man. Yeah.
Wait till you see the next.
Yeah.
The next.
We're going in for the second hour.
Change it up, baby.
Absolutely. So y'all stay with us. Again, this is Bar Talk with Jay. I'm Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay, and we'll be right back.
Oh yeah. You had a lot you had to do in them 8, 9 minutes.
Right.
Because it's all about getting into that mental psyche.
Right.
Right.
You
knew about that early on.
They used to make we don't have this anymore, is albums. They used to make those 12-inch albums.
What?
And the whole album be like one song. Right?
But this had that
disco
little
version. Yeah. The disco version of the song, right?
You know how hard it was to get that exactly on that line to get that song just to play just right?
No, I know. I remember that.
Compared to this hidden track.
Yeah, I was good at it though.
Remember that 8 track though? What? That big old thing.
Yes, sir. Listen, I carried around 8 tracks.
Did you?
With like the boombox 8 tracks.
Oh no, I had those CD. I mean, tapes. I had the boombox. I did. My era, I had the boom. I had the 8 track one because I ain't gonna tell you how heavy that thing would have been. Right. But I had it. I tell you what though, looking at the 80s and the 90s and I look at currently today, one of the things I can tell you that I like to say, change didn't happen as much as I really prefer.
Okay.
Is unfortunate.
That's an interesting observation, Jay.
Politics and the police.
Okay.
Again, with the justice system, we understand how it was designed, and then I look at back in the 60s, 70s, what they was talking about.
Okay.
Especially NWA. Mm-hmm. And then I look at what's going on today, and you see a lot of stuff now being caught on tape, and you be like, how is this still happening? We didn't address it. Okay. And again, everybody feel like you address it because you caught it on tape, but the behavior in what we're teaching and change of the I like to say of practice It didn't really happen. Okay, but we had cover up. If you really think about it, we had a great cover up. We had dash cams got added. Oh, we gotta watch the door. We got dash cams got added. We got body cams got added, but it wasn't for the protection of us.
Okay.
So I'm really sad to say, in the NFL, the knee and all the things that's going on today, some of these changes is because things has not evolved with current changes of technology. Technology went way up. Current status of past events has not taken any ownership. No one fixed the wrongs.
Okay.
They just moved on. Okay? So we moved on in a way that's not, I like to say, fixed. So it's still carrying on. Okay. So that's why we keep going backwards instead of going forward, because no one wants to take ownership.
Right.
At what point do we not just take ownership and then change the era of the past and make a better future? Because we're making progress in a lot of different ways.
Right.
But when we had the men's meeting, again, to the world, Craft is a part of a meeting that I have with my brothers, and it's intelligent brothers coming together and dialoguing, dissecting words, and having a better way of understanding different people's point of view. It's something that helps you spiritually and mentally for each of us, because men don't always communicate, okay? And we're not the best at it, but we learn to be when you start practicing. And we practice with each other and in a way to better understand other people's points of view. And Kraft was in that meeting. You heard some of the words that Jeffrey said was in the meeting already. It is for us to go down certain paths to help make this world a better place. It's up to us to make a change in our own behavior to expect somebody else to even want to follow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it starts with us.
Yes.
And what makes us is the passion and what's burning in us.
Right.
Because you know, when you heard that conversation, and I'm sorry I can't go into it because the show ain't long enough, but if I went into it, you would definitely love it. But the bottom line is, by the time you start feeling that lets you know what's in you. That's passion. That's purpose.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Again, I'm not gonna go knee deep because I know I'm gonna lose some people and I don't want to lose anybody. We have to do a better job of communicating to our young, our youth, and let alone to the people next to us, because I don't think we're 100% clear or we're not asking the right questions.
Absolutely.
But I got a young man that I'm gonna bring on.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to hearing that.
And I want to hear his point of view. And this is my son. Right. Because Jeffrey said he brought his daughter. He ain't gonna be the only one, the night player. You think, oh, Jeffrey gonna come up here and tell his daughter gonna say some things and my son ain't? Oh, it's on the night player. Rocket, welcome to the stage.
Come on in, Rocket.
We got Rock in the building, baby.
Yeah, this is Jay's son, his youngest son.
No, not youngest. Oldest.
Oldest son.
Oldest, looking like Bob Marley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Talking about smoke.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Rock oldest. He the oldest.
No. I thought John was older.
No.
Yeah.
John look older. Rock's the oldest.
Okay.
That's Bob Marley's cousin. Right there.
Yeah.
He smoke everything. Everything. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good.
You doing good?
Good.
All right.
We like to have you here, man. I'm glad you're in.
We added you in for a reason.
We want to hear kind of your opinion of maybe what you think of as the differences between the old school generation and the new generation. We can see a lot going on the surface of the world, but we're very interested to hear what you think. And do you have an opinion or some insight on how the world has changed, or what you think is the difference, or maybe even how we created a problem?
Well, I won't say that you necessarily created a problem. I believe it's more in, should I say, bridging the gap? Coming together. The younger generation tend to lean on, well, they're more of, should I say, a product of their environment. They watch TV, emulate what they see on TV, come outside, and there's also older kids that they see that probably go about their day-to-day. So it's the perception that they have versus somebody really sitting down talking to them, and then to analyze. See, there's not a whole lot of analyzing with young people. They don't do a lot of analyzing.
Okay.
I realize that.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
So, as in, like, they don't take time to really sit down and think things through.
Yes.
It's more of
Reactions.
right versus or just living in the moment. Just hey, I'm here today, you know, tomorrow, because tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah, and I think that is a huge issue to deal with. I call it pace.
Yeah.
Just because of, you know, the electronic world and all the games, and, you know, everything is coffee cup. You know, everything is is instant coffee, and when you have a generation of folks that, you know, experience life from the instant coffee mentality, they're not thinking, they're not considering perhaps how other people feel or their impact with other people. They can often be selfish. They can often be, you know, have a lack of responsibility, and you know, that is a big issue. And I think bridging the gap is the way to solve the issue.
Let's ask him a hard question, because we're going to talk with Jay. And Jay got some issues over here, because that's my son. Let's get some hard questions, correct?
Okay.
Jeffrey mentioned entitlement, okay? Now, I really feel like you had a mother and a father that worked and it supplied you with a lot of things. Not to say how your life been, but a lot of times, good parents try to do the best for their kids. But guess what? We're not the saviors, okay? It's going to be decisions up to you. And a lot of times, parents are gloating over their child, but their child are somewhat still lost. And they got both parents.
Right.
And I'm trying to bridge a gap because some of the kids are not speaking out. And there's a disconnect. And I will say there is a disconnect. I want the disconnect to be somewhat filled. Because we have a situation where young people are taking that entitlement and they're not working through it. Okay? To be entitled to something and not work for something means that you feel like I just deserve it and I don't have to do nothing.
So are you suggesting that your son has a sense of entitlement, false or real?
I like to say he has a false sense of entitlement, but I gave it to him because I worked hard to make sure he shouldn't have to suffer.
Okay.
But when I gave this to him, I thought it was given with a mutual understanding, and that right there could be an issue that I want to discuss openly because, again, crap, no one's perfect, right?
Do you feel, Rock, like you have a sense of entitlement?
To be honest,
we will hope so.
Go ahead.
I would like to say I have a sense of entitlement would be, I'm not going to say it's the correct word. I'm going to say my parents taught me that if you want something hard enough, you know, you can work hard and get it yourself. So as far as me having a sense of entitlement, I believe, in all honesty, there are some things that
you feel like
not to say that I'm spoiled or certain things that even should be given to me. I like to say I know my worth.
Yeah.
And
see, I felt a sense of entitlement when I was a young man. I felt like I was supposed to have the nice things because my parents had good jobs and they had nice things, but I don't know that I ever got to the point that I thought that if I didn't get what I want, that I was being mistreated or that I was being taken advantage of or whatever the case, whatever words would fit in that scope. My parents were very prosperous. I mean, and we were traveling all over the country and out of the country when I was a young man, and it gave me a vision for how I should live life. You know, that yeah, I should be traveling, and I should have the nice TVs, and I should have a nice car in the driveway, and you know, but I also got from my parents that yeah, you got all of this nice stuff, but here's how you take care of it. And so my dad said, listen, the front yard is yours and the backyard is mine. And the front yard, you know, I thought I was getting away with murder because the front yard is half as small as the backyard. But the front yard requires you to cut it, rake it, you gotta clean the sidewalk, you gotta do edging, you gotta trim the bushes. And so, you know, I did learn entitlement, but I also got the lesson that these are things that you work for. Okay? My father paid for vacations off of saving coins. He would take spare change. He would never spend his spare change or $1 bills that had an odd number on it, and he would just throw them in a box, right? And he paid for vacations with that. And I was privy to the fact that he was saving and that used his coins to pay for our vacation. And so it gave me now a feeling that, hey, you know, my parents are really going the extra mile for me. Let me step in every chance I get. And that meant cleaning up the kitchen. That meant doing the yards. That meant making sure the house was nice. As I got older, sometimes that meant fixing dinner. But I was a part of my parents' responsibility and accountability. And so it lessened my need for entitlement. Sometimes you can't see what you can't see. My next door neighbor's parents, you know, he was the same age as mine, but his parents was just like my parents, but he grew up thinking like, hey, y'all need to buy me a car. Y'all need to buy me a house. So sometimes things can slip through the cracks. You know, all in all, it takes hard work. And if the hard work lesson isn't taught early in the game, then people are going to grow up with a false sense of expectations. Nobody owed you anything ever in life. And you got to teach that to your children. And you got to be aware of that in your own life. You know, 40 acres and a mule is never going to happen. Right? We're not entitled to anything. All we can do now is work hard and take ownership of what we know to take ownership to make our lives better. So, you know, I know that there's a lot of problems that are happening in the youth simply because a lot of us weren't there for them, right? You know, we've gone through a generation where it seems like men in the home is an anomaly, right? Where people are being raised without mothers and without fathers, and they're learning, you know, this false sense of entitlement from the world, you know, that, you know, and if nobody tells you that, you know, having nice games and nice stuff requires hard work, then you probably spend all your money on nice stuff and have nothing to show for it. You know what I mean? You're doing yourself a disservice because you got the expectation that you spend all the money that you get on fun, and that's not how real life works. And that attitude has to change right away. And it's hard to change it because it takes years to build that attitude. It takes years to build to give those lessons, you know?
You're right. And I'm going to tell you, it does. And the reason I put my son on, and again, thank you, Rob, for sitting in, because I know he was not expecting this. But looking at the 80s and the 90s, and we try to bridge the gap, one of the reasons why I threw my son on there is because I did a lot of things, and me and my ex-wife tried to give our kids a better life than what we had, okay? And a lot of times people don't have that dialogue of talking because she came one way, I came another way. And I ain't gonna say poor, hurt, or any of that. I will say we didn't have it all when we was growing up, and we wanted our kids not to suffer like we did. And I ain't gonna say we really suffered. We just felt like we wanted to give our kids more.
Right.
I think that's a better word. And now when I look at my child, and this is a person that had a mother and a father, and then you look at him and you be like, okay, well, he should just be flying, okay? Well, that's a perception. A mother and a father there is not always the best recipe. What's the best recipe is really to have that communication, because everybody develops differently.
Right.
And no one wants to sit down and have these conversations, but I feel like it's necessary, because when I look at Rock and I talk to Rock, he don't really feel like he's entitled. It's like, you always did this. Right. So why you tripping?
Why you stop doing it?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Rock was like, you call it entitlement, I call it, this is what you did. So it's the language. Rock is confused by our terminology, but the bottom line is you bought all this. You said this is our home. You ain't never said it was just yours, and all of a sudden you wanted to say it's yours.
Right.
It was always our home. Why? Because you're always welcome. But now you of age, and you starting to be unwelcome.
Okay. Just to put it out there, right?
We want you to realize
I'm just saying, right?
we still love you.
Yeah.
Your mama love you, I love you, grandmama love you, everybody in the family love you. But at one point, like tomorrow, you are your own man. That we felt like we did everything we can, but we want to bridge. I like to say that gap where somebody feel like I still be here. It's not about being here. It's about being your own person. Because you have the ability to be a stronger person than me. Because I'm going to be the best me. I need you to be the best you. I do not ever want you to be me. Okay? I got daughters. I got sons. I don't want no one to be me. I want you to be the best you. Okay? If you walk away tonight with anything, know your daddy love you like I love all my children. In the way that I always want y'all to know I love you. For you, not for me. I love me already. That's why I poured it into you, and that's why none of y'all was tampered with. Y'all was never hurt, and I tried to give y'all the best I could. And guess what? The best might not have been the best. I might not have communicated the way I should have. But the bottom line is, I did the best I had with my hand, but I am not done. Okay? My hand is still getting adjusted, and I'm starting to realize some things I've done I don't like. But I can come on the show and make amends and say, I'm not perfect. And I can say it with you sitting across from me. I'm far from perfect. But I can tell you I love you enough that I'm willing to sit down and work through all the gaps and difference. Then say, your error is your problem. I helped create it. I can't just leave it. But one thing I cannot have is you giving it just to me and blaming me when I know we have to have ownership of each other. I'm on my mistakes, you gotta own yours, or we won't make change.
Now see, folks, you can't see this interaction happening here in the studio, but I'm looking at a father and a son looking into each other's eyes, having a very, very poignant discussion about I don't know, about life and about each other's love and about each other's commitment. And I think I'd like to see that more. You know, that's ultimately what we're here for. We want to see more of that. That was a very meaningful dialogue, Jay, and I'm just grateful to have been here to see it. And I know that I need to have that with my son, and I know many other people need to have that same dialogue with their son and with their daughters. In fact, I'm going to have that discussion this week. I made that decision of last night, so you're hitting a high point. This discussion is not about pointing fingers and blaming. We just really wanted to have an observation show. A show where we can look at the differences between the old school and the new school, and just just dialogue about it a little bit, and just to kind of bring a little fun back to the discussion. We know that the music industry is a very different industry than it was back in the 80s and 90s. I've been playing old school tonight, and you don't hear too many synthesizers, and you don't hear them computer voices, and there's a lot of that going on now. Almost like music has become so easy to make that people are just making simple music, and we as the old school cannot hear the value of new school music. And that's a part of that's one of those problems about bridging the gap. But I'm one of those people, I listen to all the new stuff, and I think they're saying some really, really powerful and important stuff. And sometimes when my head gets bad and I need some uplifting, I'm gonna go to some of that hardcore rap, because those guys are talking about standing in your zone and playing your position. We don't need to talk about killing and shooting and hurting nobody, but sometimes those words give us an inner strength that nothing else could give us. And so we respect music, you know, just like we do in the old school days. We respect it now. There's certainly a lot less R&B going on in the world, and R&B is where we came from. You know, we hear R&B in the backgrounds of the hip hop music, but you know, we're not hearing a lot of R&B. There is a ton of new R&B going on in the world. You just got to search it out nowadays. You know, it's not going to be played on the radio because the radio is designed to make money, and they're going to play the hottest, fastest rap, hip hop tracks. That's what their audience is.
Let's talk. Bar Talk with Jay. Tune in. The bar's never closed. Your #1 internet radio show. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Ooh, if you're looking for me, I'm at the bar with her. Okay, I like the bartender. Yeah, if you're looking for me, I'm at the bar. Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.
Available on iTunes.